tonight, frustration over the lack of family doctors pushes a senior from Sarnia to take action.
I talked to over 2,900 people myself, and the stories are horrible.
More on our grassroots campaign, plus a CBC News investigation on medical school data reveals some startling insight on how the number of graduates is not keeping pace with a growing population.
I used to come as a little kid.
The recent deep freeze brings a return to winter fun with a stretch of Ottawa's iconic Rideau Canal back in business.
I couldn't be prouder that my grandfather has become immortalized.
Honoring a political giant, Canada's first Black member of Parliament, how Lincoln Alexander is being celebrated at Queen's Park.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow, Ontario's Premier will face municipal politicians from across the province. They're in Toronto, armed with some big asks for the government. As Clara Pasica shows us, a recent Toronto deal with the province has some hopeful for their fair share.
A deal struck between the City of Toronto and the province late last year to upload 2 highways and put millions more dollars back in that city's pocket galvanized many of today's conference attendees.
We don't have big industrial bases like the larger municipalities do to supplement our tax revenues. We don't have any of that. We don't. So we do the best that we can. But when things are downloaded to the tune of us getting 52 bridges, more than Belleville, Ontario, and 880 lane kilometers of road that we have to maintain, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Every municipality in Canada needs a new deal. We are working on 9 cents of the tax dollar on average. We need to be able to do that. We can't grow our communities only relying on such a small percentage.
Rural Mayor said having more provincial money for housing is essential.
We've historically been able to have affordable housing, and it's just not there anymore.
For a lot of communities in rural Ontario, they have not experienced any homelessness, or certainly highly invisible homelessness in the form of couch surfing. And now we have very small communities of 2,000 and 3,000 people with people living under a bridge.
I'm proud to announce that our government is going to begin consultations.
Ontario's Rural Affairs Minister stopped by, announcing a plan for a new rural economic development strategy. But so far, she's not making any concrete promises.
I have the support of the Premier and my caucus colleagues and cabinet colleagues, and we're going to go out across this province and we're going to listen, much like we have in the past that have led us to success.
Many finding that underwhelming.
I hate to say it, but I'm a little bit cynical. It's certainly not something that you feel like you have a true partner at the table.
But there could be more to come. The Premier and other ministers are expected to speak tomorrow. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
It is a story that's only increasing in urgency, the number of people without a family doctor. It's inspired a woman in Sarnia to campaign the Ontario government. JP Tasker has more from her. Plus, he looks at medical school data, which reveals some startling insights.
Marilyn Gifford is fed up with the chronic shortage of family doctors in her area.
That's 1 in 3. 1 in 3 of us will not have a family doctor.
She's been out pounding the pavement in Sarnia, Ontario, collecting signatures for a petition aimed at changing that.
It says here, your family's life may depend upon it.
It's part of a grassroots effort calling on the provincial government to fund more medical residency spots.
I talked to over 2,900 people myself, and the stories are horrible. There is no primary care available to the average person now.
A CBC News analysis of medical school data shows the number of medical residents has been stagnant for the last 10 years. Nationwide, there's only 167 more spots than there were a decade ago. Meanwhile, Canada's population has surged by about 5 million.
The numbers are staggering.
Another concern, a waning interest in family medicine. Only 30% of new medical residents choose to work in that field, down from nearly 38% in 2014, according to school records. That's one reason this doctor says why 6.5 million Canadians go without primary care.
We are simply not graduating enough family medicine residents to meet that need.
You can actually magnify the image.
One solution is making it easier for foreign-trained doctors to practice here. Canada's employment minister says the provinces need to speed up credential recognition.
You can put artificial barriers to people accessing the labor market. We can't afford that anymore.
Gifford won't give up her fight.
We are in crisis mode here. There's no way we're going to catch up by continuing to do what we've been doing, because we're falling behind.
What isn't falling? Emergency room visits. They spiked to 15 million last year, according to the latest data. That's up more than 1 million from the year before. JP Tasker, CBC News, Ottawa.
A passenger on board an Air Canada flight from the UK to Toronto had to be restrained by staff after he tried to open a door mid-flight, according to Peel Police. Though police say it's not possible to open a door at cruising altitude. In an email to CBC Toronto, police say the passenger was restrained by Air Canada employees during the flight. As part of their safety protocols, police say the passenger, an elderly male, had been in a state of crisis and confusion, and it does not appear that his actions were intentional. No charges have been laid. Police say the man and his family have been connected with additional resources. Meantime, Toronto police have arrested 2 men in connection to a demonstration that took place last month inside Eaton Centre. Video posted to social media shows a pro-Palestinian protest inside the mall on December 17th. Police say the 2 men were taking part in blocking the entrance to a store, preventing employees from closing. According to police, one of the men allegedly pushed an officer. The other man used an umbrella to strike an officer. One man then allegedly made a verbal threat towards a person in the mall. The men faced several charges, among them unlawful assembly, mischief interfering with property, and assaulting a police officer. Now, police in Toronto have also cracked a decades-old homicide case using DNA technology. Kevin McBride was killed in his apartment back in 1982. Now, more than 40 years later, his killer has been identified. We spoke with his family in Australia after this big breakthrough.
Oh, very surprised. Surprise, relief and sadness at the same time, that at least the perpetrator has been identified and can't do the same thing to some other poor innocent person and upset whole families. But yeah,
it's just a shame that they weren't able to come up with this result before he passed away and gets some just deserves.
The 47-year-old was last seen on May 15th, 1982, 2 days before his body was found. William Taylor was identified by Toronto police as McBride's killer. He was 34 at the time of the crime. He passed away last year. Toronto police, along with a number of community partners, teaming together this weekend, handing out winter survival kits to those who need them most.
More than seeing backpacks and items filled with necessary items, I see people very passionate. I see people put in their love, compassion, and hope.
That's just one of the community members that was part of this weekend's big effort. More than 3,500 kits were put together and given to about 200 social service agencies, outreach providers, and homeless shelters. They include sleeping bags, warm clothing, and healthcare items. Now, this actually marks the 25th year for the program, with more than 50,000 kits handed out since 1999. A beautiful, sunny, and very exciting day for skaters in Ottawa as the Rideau Canal Skateway finally opened for the first time since 2022. Last year, a mild winter, you'll remember, kept the skateway closed, so many have been eagerly awaiting the big day.
I'm glad it's open, and I'm glad that we can actually enjoy some winter weather, even though it's freezing.
Soon as you see all the people skating, yes, that makes us very happy.
I used to come as a little kid, and it's just like a piece of like Ottawa heritage, you know, like to come to the canal around the winter time.
Beautiful but freezing. The 1.9-kilometer section was supposed to open this morning, but the National Capital Commission delayed it to about 12:30, saying it needed more time to fully freeze after overnight flooding. The length of the section that opened was also shortened to between 5th Avenue and Bank Street. The commission says they'll keep working to open more stretches as soon as conditions are safe. And in Toronto, the city's only ski hill looking beautiful today, opening for the season. Earl Bale Ski and Snowboard Center. People can rent all the gear: skis, snowboards, poles, boots, and helmets. There is a beginner hill and a main hill with 2 runs and 1 race hill.
I'm skiing with my cousins. Nice, good, clean fun.
We're super happy that it's open. It's an amazing service that the city offers. The conditions are fantastic, and it's a great place for her to learn how to ski.
I like the ski lift.
That's the best part. Yeah, I agree. The hills usually stay open until mid-March, but that, of course, all depends on the weather. Is that bad? I like the ride up the hill. It's fun.
And then ride back down, go down real fast. That was so sweet. Rosy cheeks
So
and big
cute.
smiles.
Beautiful day for it.
Yeah, and I want to have everybody pay particular attention to all the sunshine that was out today, because clear skies still right now into the overnight period. We may not get as much sunshine this week as we had out there today, so glad you got up to the slopes and enjoyed some of the fresh powder. A few gloomy systems coming in this upcoming work week. It's going to be a cloudy and rather active week. They're not heavy hitting systems, but Monday afternoon, system number 1 comes in. It's really more of a snow showers event, picks up a little extra oomph for those of you around the Huron shores. More of a hit or miss, mostly a miss around the GTA, as we really have been most of this winter season with not a lot of snowfall totals, but don't worry, you won't miss out. Tuesday into Wednesday is system number 2. This starts off with some freezing rain anywhere sort of Sarnia and south into Tuesday afternoon, and then impacting the Tuesday evening commute all around the GTA, wrapping up Wednesday morning. But folks, this could be the most heavy hitting snowy system so far around the GTA, where some of you in the Toronto area north of the 407 could pick up anywhere from 5 to even, dare I say, 10 centimeters of snowfall, which would make this the biggest snowfall of the season for anywhere around the GTA. The rest of the week will have more of a milder flavor. I'll tell you about the rain coming up that might wash away all that snow in the long range, Shannon.
Okay, thanks, Sophia. We'll see you soon.
You're welcome.
A trailblazer in Canadian politics, Lincoln Alexander is being honored at Queen's Park. His legacy now forever immortalized with a new sculpture.
Lincoln Alexander was a man of firsts. First Black member of Parliament, first Black cabinet minister, and of course, the first Black Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. Indeed, he was the first Black person in a vice-regal position in Canada. And today, we have another first. The first sculpture of a Black person to be here in Queen's Park.
Alexander was born in Toronto and went on to represent a Hamilton riding as an MP for 12 years between 1968 to 1980. Now, the sculpture was done by an award-winning Toronto artist. Alexander passed away in 2012 at the age of 90. The province officially proclaimed today, January 21st, as Lincoln Alexander Day, which is also recognized right across the country. A grim milestone to tell you about in the war between Israel and Hamas. The Gaza Health Ministry now says more than 25,000 Palestinians have been killed since the conflict erupted in October. Today, the UN Secretary General denounced Israel's campaign.
Israel's military operations have spread massive destruction and killed civilians on a scale unprecedented during my time as Secretary General.
178 people were reported killed today, one of the highest daily numbers so far across Gaza. Israeli troops reported gunfights in the north and sniper operations against militants in the southern city of Khan Yunis. Meantime, 1,000 people attended a memorial in Israel today for victims of one of the October 7th Hamas attacks at the Nova Music Festival. Family members planted trees in memory at the festival site, about 200 seedlings where fire raged the day of the attack. Officials say 364 people were killed there. Controversy and confusion is swirling around a new benefits program that came into effect this year for real estate agents in Ontario. Many say because it's mandatory, it might override superior programs that some realtors already have. Patrick Swadden explains.
all Ontario realtors will have access to a comprehensive benefit package starting January 1, 2024.
The Ontario Real Estate Association, OREA, says their package includes things like insurance for critical illness, a family assistance program, and $2,000 in healthcare benefits.
What this now allows us to do is offer benefits to our staff, and that's going to allow us to retain better staff and even recruit better staff.
But many others say, not so fast. A Change.org petition currently with over 18,000 signatures includes many who are angry their annual dues to OREA are going up $660 to be enrolled in a mandatory health program.
We got 4 emails prior to the vote, and none of them said the word mandatory in print. There's no dental, there's no vision, $750 max for medication.
Those members worry this will replace current or better plans. The Real Estate Council of Ontario, RECO, regulates the trade in Ontario. They say membership in OREA is voluntary, leading many to question why the plan is forced on members.
It is a huge help to the almost 60% of our members that had no health insurance whatsoever. If you don't have everybody all in as a group, then you don't have the same buying power with the insurance companies.
While Fort says she's heard from many members worrying they'll lose current benefits, Hudak saying they've heard the complaints.
That we built in an accommodation process where if a member says they're going to be experiencing hardship, losing a program, we can have an exemption for those members to make sure that they're not worse off.
It's not clear to me to what extent those opt-outs are being availed of by OREA members or what prerequisites there are to obtaining those opt-outs.
This lawyer represents a number of realtors who have filed human rights complaints. They say there's also anger regarding the reduction in coverage for members over the age of 65 without a corresponding decrease in dues.
If an opt-out option for every OREA member would be available, you wouldn't be hearing the number of complaints, and I would not be receiving the number of calls that I'm in fact grateful to receive from realtors who are struggling with what this means for them.
Chisholm says those complaints are pending. Patrick Swadden, CBC News.
Soccer fans getting together in Scarborough today to watch Morocco's game in the Africa Cup of Nations.
Africa Cup is in our DNA as Moroccans. We grew up watching it, and being here today with the whole community, I mean, it really feels like we're home. So it means a lot to us, a big deal.
We're proud of the team, even though they play in tough conditions, and we are looking forward to the next stages during this African Cup.
Morocco is taking to the pitch against the Democratic Republic of Congo in group stage play. The team scored an early goal 6 minutes into the match and controlled possession for more than half the game, but Congo answered back with their own goal in the 76th minute to even the score, resulting in a draw. Morocco is coming off their best ever performance in the FIFA World Cup, where they finished in 4th place. After months of a mild winter across Ontario, the recent deep freeze is bringing joy to a community in Cambridge. Volunteers have banded together to open an outdoor skating rink in the bitter cold from scratch. We caught up with an organizer who tells us what makes this rink and the people behind it truly special.
The rink has been going for about 18 years, but it started last Sunday. We did a marathon flood starting at 9:30 in the morning, and we flooded until 11 at night. We've got a wonderful group of volunteers. They range in age from, I think, 17 to mid-60s. A big part of what the community center does is tries to build relationships. So having a rink in the winter where people can gather, they can be outdoors, it's a lot of fun. People who may not normally get together and be outdoors see one another at the rink. So it really does help build relationships. The volunteers that do this rink are amazing people. It is cold out there. I mean, we were out at, it was minus 23 with the wind chill, and that area is a very windy area, and there are not a lot of people that would have that type of dedication. So we really, really thank them for everything that they do.
Thanks to Kim for sending us all the pictures and video. So you can see, Sophia, they convert a baseball diamond into the ice rink. It's a team of volunteers working around the clock. Some of them work 13-hour shifts to make this whole thing from scratch. It's incredible.
We are a hardy folk. What true Canadian, and tell me you're
Totally.
Canadian without telling me you're Canadian in one video, right?
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Good weather for the rinks in most of the regions across the province. We are seasonal for Monday morning into Monday afternoon, but I don't have very good rink prognosis for the long range. Let's get to that. After a couple days of seasonal weather, we have a few systems that will be coming in. Monday, light snow showers. Tuesday, a bit more of a heavy hitter system. We mentioned the start off of freezing rain in the southwest for Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday evening commute will be affected right across the region. Bit more snowfall for those of you around the Huron shores, but let's zero in around the GTA because we are talking the potential of 5 to 10 centimeters Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday morning north of the 407, Oak Ridges, Marine, Newmarket, Orangeville. 5, 10, maybe even 15 centimeters, which is enough to shake a stick at when we've only really had about 35 centimeters all season around the GTA. Could be the biggest snowfall of the season. Seasonal days, Monday, Tuesday, watch Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. After that parade of early week systems from the south, we open up the floodgates for some Gulf moisture for the second half of this upcoming work week. What that means is rainy system, milder conditions. This is the current snowpack we have on the ground, quite a bit around the Georgian and the Huron shores and into eastern Ontario, but a lot of that is likely to melt or even be washed away with 2 days of rain to end off this upcoming work week in temperatures that are anywhere from 5 to 7 degrees above the seasonal normal. Luckily for the Rideau Canal in the Ottawa region, we hold on to those cold overnight lows. But as we're talking about this warmer setup over the now fairly frozen Great Lakes, we're looking to have a pretty foggy end to this upcoming week. But Shannon, anybody who hasn't liked this deep freeze, we have, I guess, good news with this, as the signature for the early part of February is for more warmth. So maybe less skating, but if you've been happy with the lack of shoveling, then early February will be lovely for you.
Yes, but first we get this blast of snow. I was trying to look on the map to see what my neighborhood's going to get there.
Yeah, you're looking at about solid 5 to 10, so you will need the shovels into Wednesday morning and Tuesday evening, but it's nice. We need some snow for the kids to play in, I think.
Totally. Thanks so much, Sophia. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Before we go, though, we want to take you back to the Rideau Canal in Ottawa. Did you know it's the world's largest natural ice skating rink? It officially opened today for the first time since 2022. It is kicking off its 54th season this year. You can bet people were just so excited to get out there and enjoy the sunshine with a nice skate.